Welcome to The Orbit. I'm Valtuem. Join me on my journey reviewing every episode of Star Trek Terms of Service. We're starting with the pilot, The Cage. In this episode, Captain Pike and the USS Enterprise receive a distress signal from a ship that crashed on Talos 4 some 18 years ago. But when they go to check it out, Pike is taken prisoner by the Big Heads, who use their psychic powers to trap him in an illusion. In the end, he uses good old-fashioned violence to get his way, proving once and for all that brawn is superior to brains. Coming off a disastrous mission, Pike feels guilty. He holds himself at fault for the casualties they suffered, and is determined to get them the medical attention they need. He's even willing to initially ignore a distress signal to do so. There's no indication there are any survivors, so his crew takes priority. And if they go to Talos 4 to help them, those will be yet more lives he'll be responsible for, and he's reluctant to take on that burden after what happened. Pike longs to escape it all, to leave behind the responsibilities of being captain. He dreams of going back home or going into business, somewhere to escape the burden of being a ship's captain. As Dr. Boyce points out, Pike's guilt is a result of the overly high standards he holds himself to. He is being crushed under his own expectations, which isn't fair to himself. What they do is often dangerous. He, a single man, can't possibly prevent any and all harm. That's just not realistic. This goes to show how much he cares about his crew. At the end of the episode, he's willing to remain a slave to the fat foreheads in exchange for them letting his crew leave safely. He even wants to protect Vina, someone partly responsible for his imprisonment. Pike also proves himself strong-willed and determined. When locked up by the coconut craniums, he refuses to submit to their illusions, resisting the temptations of the very lives he dreamed of escaping to. They even compliment him on his adaptability. He's also clever, able to deduce what the veiny voyeurs can and can't do with their powers. He figures out their limitations and exploits them. He clouds his mind with hate and prevents them from reading his thoughts, which lets him get the jump on them and escape. As explained by Vina,
you can't keep it up.
That's difficult to maintain, especially when they can mentally torture you as punishment for disobedience. He's an interesting and compelling character. I can't wait to see the many adventures of Captain Pike. The episode plays with the idea of dreams versus reality. It starts with Pike's desire to run away from his responsibilities.
A man either lives life as it happens to him, meets it head-on and licks it, or he turns his back on it and starts to wither away.
This is paralleled by the illusions and dreams conjured by the ballsack brains. Referring to them, Vina says,
When dreams become more important than reality, you give up travel, building, creating.
Running away from your problems has consequences. It means neglecting what's important. For Pike, that would mean turning his back on his crew and their mission. Such a decision would also impact himself as a person. Giving into this temptation means Pike ceases to be the responsible and respected man he is. That version of him dies, in a sense.
Suppose you had all the space to choose from, and this was only one small sample.
Wouldn't you say it was worth a man's soul?
He can either live, face his responsibilities head-on, or turn his back on all of it, run, and wither away. And running away doesn't suit Pike, so he refuses to give in. He won't trade harsh reality for the gilded cage of a fantasy. To him, that's akin to dying.
The customs and history of your race show a unique hatred of captivity. Even when it's pleasant and benevolent, you prefer death.
At the end of the episode, we discover that Vina is busted as fuck.
Ew! Dude! What the fuck?
She was mangled in the crash, and the Five Heads did their best to put her back together, but didn't know how a human was meant to look. She prefers to stay on Talos, to live in a dream where she's healthy and whole again, where she can live happily. This bit kind of confuses me. The whole episode is about Pike rejecting fantasy in favor of reality, but right at the end, he's okay with Vina choosing fantasy. What's the episode trying to say? It's okay to escape into a fantasy if it improves your life?
He has an illusion, and you have reality. May you find your way as pleasant.
Please, let me know if you have a better read on this. When you really think about it, the scrotum skins are actually terrifying. Their illusions are ridiculously OP, and cause characters to constantly second-guess themselves about what is or isn't real. They can't trust their environment. They can't trust any of their senses. They can't trust their own actions. And they can't even trust if the people around them are real. Theoretically, everything they experience from this episode forward could be an illusion. It's enough to drive a man mad. The fear the billboard brows have of revealing themselves is entirely realistic. If people knew of their incredible powers, they'd immediately turn on them out of distrust and paranoia. Thanks for watching. What do you think of The Cage? Let me know in the comments below. Remember to like and subscribe, and stay tuned for my next Star Trek review. I'll see you on the orbit.